What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing 5 reasons why you should buy the Galaxy S20 Ultra in 2022. This phone is going for around 300 to 350 bucks on Amazon. I have the link down below. And yeah, guys, I've been very impressed with this phone. So the first thing that I really like about this phone is the Snapdragon 865 chip, one of my favorite chips from Qualcomm. And it's very impressive here performance-wise, but not only with just scrolling, swiping, gaming on this phone. I don't remember any of my Samsung flagships, the older flagships that can run PUBG at 90 frames. Like I said, I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, this one runs PUBG at 90 frames, and it has been a really good gaming experience. It's blazing fast. Supports 90 frames for a few other games as well too. I'll drop a full gaming test. But yeah, guys, I was pretty impressed with this because, like I said, my Note doesn't do it. The S21 Ultra doesn't do it. The S22 doesn't do it at 90 frames. So I was pretty impressed with that. So gaming performance on here has been pretty good. Not only that, but the phone stays relatively cool. Like I said, I think their best chips are the Snapdragon 855 and 865 when it comes to still retaining power and also the phone not getting super hot when gaming for long periods of time. So my experience as far as performance has been very good on this device here, guys. Really impressed with performance on here. This phone does also have SD card support as well, guys. So you do have SD card support, 128 gigs of internal storage and 12 gigs of RAM on here. So if you're somebody that does download a lot of content or you take a lot of video and stuff like that, you're really going to appreciate the SD card support here. Alright, guys, so next is the display on here. So this is a big phone at 6.9 inches. So it's bigger than the S22 Ultra. That is a 6.8 inch phone. And yeah, for people with small hands, you definitely feel that little small difference. Even though it's small, you can definitely tell. This is a massive phone. So if you're somebody that watches a lot of video, the video experience is great on here. But the quality of the screen is still excellent on here. It's the dynamic AMOLED, 120 hertz. It's HDR10 plus. It gets up to 1400 nits peak brightness as well. It is a 1440p display, and it is 511 for the PPI. So it is a 120 hertz display, but unfortunately, the 120 hertz only runs in 1080p. Which is fine because the screen and everything looks fine in 1080p. But if you guys see, if I push it to Quad HD, it'll go ahead and disable my option for the higher or the 120 hertz. So yeah, I keep it on 1080p because it looks fine. And yeah, I absolutely love it. It's super smooth. The screen is absolutely beautiful. Like I said, it's a curved display, so it's not as boxy as the S22 Ultra or the Note 20 Ultra. Yeah, I really like it. It has a curve to it, but you guys can see it's not as curved. If you guys can see that, so it's not like super dramatically curved. And I really like the screen, and to me it's more comfortable to hold than the more boxy phones, especially if you have smaller hands. So I'm absolutely a big fan of the display on the S20 Ultra. I think it's great. Again, the only downside is there's no option to run it at 120 hertz at the full 1440p. Guys, so the next thing is going to be the camera. So I was very impressed with the cameras on here. You have the 108 megapixel camera on here, and then you also have a 48 megapixel periscope telephoto lens on here. That's 4x optical zoom, and then you have a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and then you also have a 0.3 depth sensor. It shoots in 8K 24 as well, which is really impressive. And you can also shoot, of course, 4K 60 with a 40 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 4K 60. Guys, the image quality is very good on this phone. Taking zoom shots on here is amazing. Like I said, it has the 100 times zoom, which again, the 100 times zoom, you're not going to get great shots with that. You're not supposed to really be zooming like that all the time, right? But this phone does still a phenomenal job with 30 times zoom shots. Very crispy, very nice looking shots at 30 times. Really impressed with the image quality it does. So like I said, even 10 times zoom, it still takes some extremely crispy shots on here. The color is very punchy on here. You know, it's a classic Samsung sort of image processing on here. Low light photography does a pretty good job as well. I think in general for $350, this is going to be a great pickup for anybody that likes to take a lot of photos. You're getting very high resolution photos, very punchy image quality. It does the sort of face smoothing thing that Samsung always does on their phones. You either like it or you don't like it. But like I said, you can turn that feature actually off if you want to in the settings. But like I said, it is going to do like a little bit of lightening and smoothing with the face by default for the selfie cam. But in general, I think the photos are excellent. I also thought the video was extremely good as well too. I was really impressed with video quality. Just shooting, I like to shoot at 1080p 60. It does a really great job with that. Just really nice color. With the video as well too, good depth of field. So very impressed with overall the cameras on this older flagship. It still does a phenomenal job. Now let's go ahead and talk about the additional features. So one thing that I really love about older flagship phones is that you get all of the bells and whistles that you would get with a newer phone. And I'll do a comparisons for you guys. But Samsung desktop support is still here. Basically everything you would find on a newer Samsung flagship is still here. NFC is on here. Dolby Atmos, secure folders, wireless power sharing is on here, our advanced processing, all that good stuff. Everything is on here. And one thing about this phone that you do have to remember, guys, is Android 13 is going to be the last major OS update for this phone. It is currently going to get security patches for, I believe, the next 3 years. And that'll pretty much be it. So do take that into consideration. But yeah, as far as the biometrics go, you do have Face Unlock. You also have the fingerprint scanner. That still works extremely fine. Had no issues. It's still very fast. And you also have, I think, some pretty good stereo speakers. I have to compare them to the other phones, but they sound pretty good. I don't think these are the loudest, again, that Samsung has made, but so they're pretty good. And also this phone does have a good vibration motor as well too, so you get really good feedback with this phone as well. So I definitely think the speakers are good. I'm going to compare it to other phones to see where they stand, but so far so good. All right, so lastly is the design. Like I said, I like the design of this phone. So if I go ahead and grab my note just to show you guys, so the reason why this phone is easier for me to hold is because the note, it's boxy, right? So it kind of feels like it's piercing into the hand versus this fits more smoothly into the palm. So I've always been a fan of, you know, the phones that kind of do that, like they fit smoothly in the hand. So I do like the designer here. It is a glass and metal design. It is IP68 dust and water resistant. Now a lot of people have said this is one of Samsung's probably most boring designs, and you know, I could agree, you know, to an extent. I think the color options on this phone could have been better, but yeah, so you know, it's not too crazy of a design really. You got this big massive camera in here that makes it look a little bit more modern. But for an older flagship, I think it looks fine. But what do you guys think about the design? Because I've noticed a lot of people are sort of split in the middle. A lot of people think it's ugly. A lot of people think, you know, it looks fine. I think I'm one of those people in the middle. I think it looks okay. And lastly, guys, I do want to touch on the battery life on this phone. So battery life is pretty good on here for the most part. I'm able to get 6 hours of screen on time, pretty much like the rest of the Samsung flagship phones. It's pretty much on par with those phones. 5,000 milliamp battery, 45 watt charging, wireless, reverse wireless charging. I do like that it has 45 watts, so it charges pretty fast. But like I said, nothing too crazy. You know, but the battery life is pretty standard. Screen on time. Guys, that's pretty much it. Be sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.